And Don was talking about the number of ballots that have come in, many of them in the mail, already in the hands of voters in terms of the mail-in ballots. But on many of them, there's an error. WMER 2 News' Mallory Foster explains what it is and why it matters.
The error only affects Baltimore City voters. Of the 11 ballot questions, one is slightly off, and it impacts the council's ability to override the mayor's veto.
In a presidential election, the ballot questions may seem like an afterthought, but 7 of them could change how Baltimore City is run. Like question G, which would reduce the number of council member votes needed to override a mayoral veto.
We have the strongest mayor of any city in the United States of America.
Councilman Bill Henry sponsored the legislation. Right now, 3/4 or 12 council members are needed to override a mayor's veto. He wants that reduced to 2/3 or 10 votes.
Any real city, we could not find one that required as high of a threshold as 3/4.
The Maryland General Assembly requires 3/5. In Boston, Detroit, Philadelphia, and D.C., it takes 2/3 majority vote. The council first introduced legislation last year, but in June, it was vetoed by Mayor Jack Young. The council then overrode his veto.
I know, it's ironic, right? You know, if you had to override the veto to get this on the ballot, why do you need it? And the answer is clear, that we were able to get many of the veto overrides that we've gotten in this last term because they were around charter amendments, they were around structure of government itself.
What's the backstory to this idea, though? Was there a certain issue or topic that there was a veto and, the council wasn't able to override it together? How did this come to your attention?
In all candor, it's not one particular vote.
Henry said it has to do with the uneven power dynamic and ensuring the will of the people prevails. However, when reading this question, voters may notice there's other language eliminating the mayor's line item veto power on items of appropriation. Henry said this was removed in the legislative process, but the original description went to the State Board of Elections. By the time the error was caught, the deadline to make changes had passed.
We were assured by lawyers that no matter what the language on the ballot says, it's referring to the version of the charter amendment that was actually passed by the city council.